Hey guys, I'm Faazil. I'm from Bangalore, India. And I recently attempted the GMAT and got a 750 with a Q49 and a V42. I'd like to say that one of the most important resources which I use in my preparation was Target Test Prep. Actually, the only resources which I used were Target Test Prep and GMAT Club. And I used GMAT Club only to practice the official questions. I didn't even attempt to learn from the official guide because I know myself, and I know that I learn well only when I learn by doing, and for this reason, Target Test Prep was perfect for me, and I would recommend it to everyone who is starting their GMAT prep journey. So to give a little background about me, I got my BBA, Bachelor's of Business Administration from Christ University, Bangalore, in 2021. And since then, I've been working in a marketing agency. I've always known that once I get my undergraduate degree and get some work experience under my belt, I'd like to pursue a master's, preferably abroad. Most of the schools I'm targeting are extremely competitive, so it made sense for me to really focus on my GMAT and make sure that I have a good application. Especially because my college GPA isn't the best, I had to balance that out with a great GMAT score. So I knew that I needed to get maybe upwards of a 720, 730 to offset this average GPA. Also, because I work in a marketing agency, which is a demanding job with extremely long hours, I was finding it very hard to allocate enough time to study from my schedule. So what I did was I spoke to my company, and they were kind enough to give me a 2 month break, just to focus and get a good score on the GMAT. The first week I just used free resources, right, like off YouTube, off GMAT Club, and so on. After this 1 week of pretty unstructured prep, I attempted a practice test and I got a 610. And this was in the region of what I was expecting, considering I wasn't in touch with most topics which were being tested in the GMAT. Permutations, combinations, geometry. I hadn't studied all this in a very, very long time. Even verbal, what sounded right to me was in most cases wrong. So I had my work cut out for me. A couple friends of mine who got really good scores recommended Target Test Prep to me. I started off with the 5 day free trial and really liked the structured approach. Also, it was extremely comprehensive. And for me, if I need to understand something, I really need to understand the logic behind it. I can't just memorize the formula. I need to know how that formula was derived, and only then it registers in my head. And this was there on Target Test Prep, which was perfect. Also, I like the fact that as soon as you're done with the theory of a particular topic, you can attempt the practice tests. And these tests also had 3 levels of difficulty. So that's what I did, right? If the topic was hard for me, like permutations and combinations was hard for me, so I'd attempt the easy tests, the medium tests, and the hard tests, and try to get the target accuracy in all three of them. But if a topic was fairly easy for me, for example, algebra was fairly easy for me, I'd attempt just the hard tests and I'd get the target accuracy in that. So, it's very important to be mindful of what you're doing, right? Got to be smart with your prep and not just attempt questions for the sake of it, especially when you have a time constraint like I did. Double down on what you feel you're not very good at, and you can just go through what you think you're good at and what you're comfortable with. TTP also gives you these analytics, so you actually have some evidence for your strengths and weaknesses. So in terms of quant, target test prep was just perfect, right? I finished the quant course fairly easily. In terms of verbal, be ready to be 100% focused. If you slack off a bit and drift away while reading through the verbal modules, you'll find it very hard to catch up. It has a very logical way of presenting its verbal module. So, though I'm somewhat of a native speaker, I often didn't care about these rules. And only after reading through these modules, I realized that, okay, though what I'm saying maybe sounds right and makes sense as well, it's not grammatically correct. So just be prepared to focus and bring your A game to the verbal section. Also, if I wasn't getting any particular topic, I'd watch a video about it on YouTube. There are so many creators who make GMAT videos and you can benefit out of all of them. So I'd watch this video on YouTube and then come back and read the module, and then it would make much more sense to me. In terms of advice, focus on all aspects of study equally, but give a little more importance to your weaker areas. Focus more on concepts and understanding those concepts rather than just doing these practice problems endlessly, right? If you learn these concepts and understand them thoroughly, your accuracy in the practice tests and practice questions will increase automatically. Also, make sure you're in the right headspace to study, and don't stress out too much. If you don't get a good score, you can attempt the GMAT multiple times. Sure, you have to pay a little bit, but if it helps you get into a good master's program, you can make that money back in no time. Be prepared to work hard as well, right? There was a time during my prep where I was studying for maybe 8 hours a day because I was short on time. I had 1 month to prepare and basically had to start from scratch. Also, don't just study all day. You have to keep your mind fresh in order to store the information which you're studying. So if you have an option, don't study for 10 hours. Maybe study for just 8. And the rest 2 hours, you can do your workouts, play a sport, do your meditation. Whatever helps you be in the right headspace and be in the zone where you're able to learn and store information. I personally went to the gym, played football, and meditated almost every day, and can't stress the importance of taking a step back and making sure you're in the right headspace to study. So after studying like this, I attempted, I think, 2 practice tests, not under serious conditions. I'd take a break, I'd pause the test, I'd skip the AWA in the IR section, and I think I got a 720 in both these tests. And then I attempted the actual GMAT, and I got a 660. Right, I struggled to manage time during my exam. I think I skipped 6 questions in Quant, so you know how serious of an impact that can create. I got a 660, which I was extremely disappointed with. I expected upwards of a 730, 740, at least upwards of a 720, which I was getting in my practice tests. I got a little overconfident, right? When I wasn't able to answer a question, my ego took over and I spent too much time on that question rather than just skipping it because I felt like I had to get it right. Anyway, I got back home and booked an online GMAT for, I think, 2 days later. Because in my head, I knew that I could get a much better score. I just had to refine my test taking strategies. In the next 2 days, I attempted, I think, 2 more practice tests in proper conditions, in serious conditions. I attempted all sections, the AWA, the R section. I didn't skip anything. I didn't take undue breaks. I attempted it seriously. I got a 740, I think, in both those practice tests. So I knew I was ready for the actual online GMAT. I attempted the online GMAT and got a 750 with a Q49 and a V42. Whoever's watching, don't make the mistake I made and take the practice tests lightly. Attempt as many of them as you can and take them all under proper test like conditions. And that's it. That's all I'd like to say. If I had to do it again, I would definitely use target test prep again. It's as simple as that. So, yeah, thank you very much and all the best for your GMAT.